Okay, I'm just going to log on to Facebook and see if we have anybody watching yet. And just make sure everybody can hear me before I get started. I am going to be watching the comments, so hopefully everyone can hear me. Oh, hi Paz, hi Brianne, hi Tina, hi Robin, hi Cassie. Yes, there will be a replay for the next, available for the next 3 days, and you will be able to watch it over those 3 days, and then after that it's going to go into the mentoring group. Okay, so we're just going to give a few more people a chance to log on. So we've got another minute to go here. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. So where's everybody from? Hi, Carolina. Hi, Amy. Where's everybody from? I'd love to know. Okay, so Tina says she's from Australia. I know there's a bunch from the States. Tell me where you guys are from. Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Sarah. Wisconsin, awesome. Tennessee. Perfect. California, nice. That's awesome. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go over a bunch of different things that a lot of photographers maybe are not aware of with their work. And so we're just going to kind of go through a lot of common mistakes that can happen, and hopefully you can learn something, and maybe you can share this with your friends, like get your friends to join in so that they can watch it too. More the merrier. Okay, Alabama, awesome. Nice. PA outside of Philly, cool. Hi, Lorena. Hi, Nicole. Okay, so we got a good little group going. So if you have friends that we're hoping to hop on, go and tag them, and the more the merrier. Hi, Pam. Okay. So I'm going to try and keep watch on my comments section. So feel free to ask questions while we're going through this. And I'm very happy to help answer your questions. And, if you do have any other questions about something totally not being discussed, feel free to ask those too. So, oh, from Louisiana. Oh my goodness, I can't talk today. Okay, awesome. Okay, we're getting a good little group. So this is day 1 of our 3-day posing bootcamp workshop. So we are going to have some discussions, and we're going to go through a variety of different situations with poses with newborn photography today. And then the rest of the week, tomorrow we're going to focus on parent posing and sibling posing, and then on Thursday we're going to do live editing. So there is a lot of free giveaways for everyone that does participate. I love to give things away, and I know that everyone loves to get good gifts too. So I'm just hoping that everybody has the opportunity to comment and participate as much as possible so that you can take advantage of the giveaways. Hi, Lacey. Hi, Cheryl. Okay, so the few gifts that I do have is, the one is the lighting tutorial. You will get a download link on Thursday after I count up all the comments to make sure that everybody, participated fairly. So you do need to comment at least 8 times every day during the boot camp to win. If you are watching this as a replay, don't worry about it. Just comment on it as if you were watching it live. I will count up your comments, okay? If you decide to join mentoring with me after the end of the boot camp, you will get $600 off rather than $500 off. So it's definitely an extra bonus. Hi, Tamara. I'm from Canada too. Where in Canada are you from? I'm from Edmonton, Alberta. Hi from Texas. Sweet. Hi, Pam. Honduras. Awesome. Excellent. Okay. And we also get I will be giving a 75% discount code for presets. So you will get a complete tutorial as well as some discounts if you choose to use them. Ontario, awesome. So a couple hours past 6, hey? Okay. So I just wanted to introduce you and let you know who I am in case I'm new to you. So my name is Catherine, and I am the creator of Mom Talk Educate. I started a YouTube channel called Mom Talk Educate about 5 years ago, and I started making newborn photography posing tutorials and editing tutorials and all that jazz. And then I realized I should open up a Facebook group to help people that need extra help. And so I started this Facebook group just to help out everyone who, needs a little bit of extra. So if you haven't checked out my YouTube channel, you definitely need to go look it up. It's Mom Talk Educate. And there is like so many tutorials, posing tutorials, editing tutorials. There's just so much. So definitely a lot of free content. I have been doing newborn photography for 12 years, and I have a bunch of girls and a couple dogs that are not in this picture. I've also traveled around the world, and I love to teach and share my knowledge. So, if you are looking to pursue newborn photography, then I would love to help you out. So I just want to show my beginning because I know everybody has a beginning. So whatever stage you're at in your newborn photography, this usually is interesting, because we all start somewhere, right? And no matter where you are in your journey, you always have something to learn. I'm always learning something, and I've been doing this for 12 years. So this is the very first newborn session I ever did. I showed up at this family's home, and they literally had no windows that I could use for natural daylight. Like it was so dark. I couldn't believe it. But then they had this like random skylight in a lower part of their entryway. And so, of course, I knew nothing about lighting or photography at all. Like I had learned how to use my camera in manual mode, and that's about it. I didn't know anything about posing newborns. I had grabbed a beanbag from Walmart. I grabbed some blankets from IKEA, and I brought some tea towels with me. And basically, I was just winging it. This was my very first newborn. And then this one was a few weeks later. This was my second newborn. I remember this was such a gong show. This baby would not stop crying. She just wanted to eat. I actually had to go back the very next day just to get some pictures. So I had to do her 2 days in a row. And she's actually the only newborn that I've ever done a repeat session for. I've never done another one because I'm like, nope, I know better now, and they don't really change on the second session, so there's really no point. This is the third newborn that I did, and I have to say, yeah, you're probably just like cringing as you're looking at these, but it's fun to see where people start. So I have pulled up a bunch of my old pictures, and we are going to go through and dissect everything because this is how you learn. A lot of times, we're oblivious to what we're looking for, and it's funny because I'll even see some really incredibly talented newborn photographers making some really strange lighting mistakes occasionally. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen sometimes. And so when you're looking, when you know what to look for, you start to see what's missing or what should be corrected or changed in a session. And so when you look at this picture, I would love for you to tell me what you think is missing and what could have been done differently. Just send me write in the comments what you think is wrong with this picture right here. So we're going to focus on incorrect lighting, but I'd love to know what you think is wrong before I break it down. Looks flat, could come from baby's head more. The angle maybe, light isn't going down the head. Yeah. Shooting up the nose. Yeah. Up the nose, bottom is ghoul lit. So these are both ghoul lit. And we're going to just go to this next screen here. Okay, so as you can see, the bum is facing the light instead of the face. So really his head should have been closer to the light source, and the light should have been flowing down his face and down his body. So this is just a close-up of ghoul lighting, so that if you're not familiar with what to look for, this is what it is. So when the light is shot up the nostrils, it creates this really funky shadowing on the nose and around the eyes. And you can kind of compare it to like when you're camping and it's dark and somebody takes a flashlight and like shines it below their nose and up their face, and it just looks all scary. Well, that's what this is. It's ghoul lighting. So always remember that when you are doing newborn photography, you want to make sure that the face is always closer to the light. So for this, I wrote swap the direction. So either the light needs to be over here or the baby's face needs to be over here where the light source is. And this was natural light. This is studio light. So, and there's quite a bit of difference in years between the two pictures. But as you can see, the ghoul lighting is visible in this black and white picture. It would probably be a lot more visible in this picture if it was in color. But like as you can see here, the shadows on the face here match the shadows on this. And this is when the light is shining up the nose. So the bottom picture here shows where the light should be. And you want to make sure that when you're aiming your camera at the baby, you're shooting down the body. Okay? So you want to make sure that the light is coming from the direction of the head and face so that it can light beautifully down the body and not from the direction of the bum. So if you have any questions about lighting and the direction and whatnot, just post them in the comments for me. Another common mistake that I see in newborn photography beyond incorrect lighting is something that I want you to see if you can pick out in this picture. So this is the same baby. I clearly changed the bonnet in the next picture. These pictures are from about 11 years ago. So when you look at these pictures, what can you tell me that you would do differently? So right now we're looking for mistakes. So when you look at this bucket pose, what are some things that you can point out right off the top that is incorrect? Tamara, head is leaning on wrong side. Yes, that's totally correct. Absolutely. What else? There's a few things. Basket is overstuffed. Robin, good job. Excellent eye. Perfect. Overstuffing. So as you can see, there is a massive IKEA blanket shoved around this baby inside this bucket. Yep, can't see baby's face very well. Arms are too far back, hands not under chin. Angle, position of the baby brings hands forward. Needs to be more at the edge of the bucket. So basically, because of a major mistake of overstuffing, I was not able to control anything with her. Like, I had zero control over her body, where her arms were, her wrists were. Like, you can see that they're kind of just wedged in around her. I couldn't position her face on her chin or on her wrists. I couldn't bring her to the front part of the bucket. Like there's so many different things that went wrong, and it's all because I used too much stuffing. If I had used proper fabric or proper amount of stuffing, layers to go around her, to lean her on, I could have actually fixed and perfected this pose, but because I overstuffed it, I didn't really have a chance. So we're gonna go to the next one here. And so this is just an example to show you that if you use the proper layers, then you actually get the proper position. So like for instance, this one, I didn't even have to use a layer. I just used a little pillow, and then I used a tiny little drape of a layer behind the pillow just to kind of bump it up a little bit. And then I had beans underneath her to lean her against it. And I was able to get exactly what I wanted with full control without having to worry about it being overstuffed and her being in a dangerous position. And as you can see in this pose, there is just one tiny little layer underneath the baby. And because of that, I'm able to bring the baby right to the rim of the bucket, and I'm able to stack the hands properly and lean the head in the right direction. So it's actually surprising how many people don't see the layers and the stuffing that they're putting in their pictures until someone points it out. And I'm guilty, like guilty as charged. Like clearly I did not see the issue with this. So that's why it's good to do these types of boot camps and courses, because it really shows things that maybe you're not looking at. And I was totally clueless. I had no idea where to lean her head. I had no idea how close she needed to be to the front. I was trying to pull her towards me to the front, but I just couldn't because there was too much fabric and too much stuffing. So believe it or not, less is more. And when you have less to fight with, then you actually are capable of adding in additional, beans around the baby in the backside, or fabric, or layers, or wraps, or whatever you want to do, and put those into the backside. Does anyone have any questions before we keep going? And what is your biggest struggle when it comes to stuffing props? Like, do you have any questions with stuffing props before we keep going? And if you have any questions about stuffing these props, I can break it down for you. So hopefully there's some questions coming in, but I'm just going to break it down a little bit. So how would you stuff this? So I'll go through each one. So with this isn't a very deep bucket, and this isn't a very deep bucket, so I didn't really need to put a whole lot underneath her in this one. I would say that with the top one, there was probably one larger, I would maybe say a medium bean underneath her, because she does have 3 wraps on her for the potato wrap. And then because there isn't any stuffing, I'm able to completely lean her to the one side and then bump it up a little bit with, as you can see, with this little draping layer right here. So really there's not a whole lot. There's the baby in her 3 wraps that she's in for potato, and then just the little pillow, and then a bean underneath her. Now with this one, okay, I'm just gonna lead up. Oh, so many comments. Excellent, you guys. Okay, so I'm just going to answer Cheryl's question, how to stuff the bottom bucket. So this is considered, or I guess the name for it is called the poo bucket or honey bucket. And so this is a deeper bucket, especially because all of them are different in size and they're very unique, but generally they're fairly tall. So with this bucket, it's quite heavy. You don't need to weight it. If it was a thinner light bucket, then yes, I do recommend having a flat weight disc. Even a 5-pound weight is fine. And you can just pop those into the bottom of the buckets. But with this wooden bucket, what I have is I have 2 large beans, posing beans, and they're just like the ones off of Amazon. They're nothing special, nothing expensive. And then I have 1 little medium-sized bean under the butt, and I push his butt right against the back far side of the bucket. And that way he's leaning totally over and across the bucket. And he does have the back side of this layering wool layer to soften underneath his chest. So he's comfortable. Like, as you can see in this picture, he's totally fine. And this is actually from a newborn live that we did last year. Okay, let me just, oh, I forgot. Boop. Okay, I struggle stuffing a bucket and doing chin on hands. So one recommendation I can have or give you for the bucket pose is to make sure that you are posing the baby in your hands first, and then putting the baby, like, have the bucket ready to go, have it stuffed and have it ready, and then place the baby in the position in your hands, getting their elbows used to being upright. And then you use your neck to secure the head as you position them in the bucket, and that way they're totally safe. And you know, you have your hands holding the baby, right? So you can use your body to be that safe, you know, that safety to keep the baby safe. And as long as the baby is sleeping in your hands, they shouldn't wake up when you put them in the bucket. And another thing too is, if you struggle stuffing a bucket, really try with less first and then stuff around the baby after they're in the bucket. So as long as they have something soft to rest on, it doesn't have to be super thick. It just has to be soft, that they can't feel like a lot of pressure from the bucket underneath. Robin said, how far back to put the baby in the poo bucket? Their butt is touching the back of the bucket. Abigail said, our baby's legs wrapped well in the bottom one. Yeah, the baby is fully wrapped. The bottom half of the baby is fully wrapped. Tamara said, I sometimes struggle getting elbows up even with free form, like it keeps slipping even if I have a poser under the bum. So I don't use any kind of posers for the bucket. I just use the like the layer that I suggest. Like, I suggest a woolly layer from Beautiful You, and I would recommend starting with those because they're the perfect thickness and they're the perfect size. I don't use a free form or any other kind of things like that. Josette said, I have a fear of baby lifting his head up and then dropping down even with the edge covered with layer. So when I'm posing, I totally understand that, because I think that that's a lot of fear for a lot of people. So when they have that curve in their back and their body is balanced properly and their head is resting on those stacked hands, it's a lot easier to make, you know, when they're balanced properly, to be confident, because it's really hard for them to lift their head up when they're balanced properly, if that makes any sense. But there's another reason. If you're worried and you're worried about balancing them properly, then having the parents, you know, just be your safety, you know, your spotter, just with their hand hovering until you're confident with your posing skills, I would recommend doing that. Having a spotter just with your bucket posing and any other type of prop posing that you're worried about. Ella said, should your buckets be a certain weight? I just have a 5-pound disc weight that I throw in the bottom of any props that are lightweight. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so now we're going to carry on. So, this is another common mistake that I see, and I wonder how many of you are going to figure it out. So, besides the incorrect lighting, so other than the flat lighting, what would you do differently? There's a few things you should be able to point out. So this is a good test for you. So type in whatever you think could be done differently with this top picture. And it's funny, you can totally tell a different hat. You can tell that these were from 10 years ago because, or this was from 10 years ago because of the all the crocheted stuff I had in the pictures. Yeah, okay, so Abigail said different hat, angle, prop them up. Stephanie said the head is too buried. Fabric choice, hardly see the hands or the elbows. Head could be lifted more. Bring baby up closer onto a raised area. Stack the hands, elbows apart. Foot too soft under baby. Josette, you got it. You're the first person to figure that out. You're totally right. The surface is too soft. You got it. So, congratulations. You get the award for that question. So, absolutely, all of you guys were correct. All of those things needed to be done, but I was specifically focused on how the surface was too soft. And that is something that I have made huge progress with my posing since swapping out of a beanbag and moving to a more firm surface to pose on. So with this image, the surface is just too soft. It's the lack of firmness that's reducing how I can balance and position the head safely. So when I look at this picture, first of all, the head, well, for one thing, the face is like totally facing the window. So that's why you're getting flat. That's why I got flat lighting, because I didn't have directional lighting. The baby was basically facing the light. Okay, second of all, because I was using a very overly soft beanbag that was like had way too much give in it, every single time I tried to move my posers. No, Brianne, I don't sell posing tools, but I do give recommendations. So with this picture, because the baby was so like basically sinking into all of this fluff that was underneath the baby, like I can probably tell you, I probably had like 40 rolled up face cloths and tea towels and random socks filled with rice and whatever. Like nothing I was using ever worked because it was too soft. It was just way too soft. And everything just kind of sunk into each other. Not to mention I didn't understand how to pose correctly, but a lot of my problems started because I didn't use a firm enough surface. So I can honestly tell you that if you are not using a firm surface right now, that is probably one of your biggest problems. So if you are using a beanbag that is not as firm as a table, then you need to fill it till it's as firm as a table. Okay, so like I'm serious, like you would have to force your hand into it with all your might to create a dent in it. That's how stuffed it needs to be. Okay. Or you could use a posing table. Like a lot of people use really secure tables that, you know, the safety's locked in, so you don't have to worry about it collapsing or anything like that. Or some people use the dog bed, and I use the dog bed. So definitely you don't have to spend a lot of money if you are on a budget. Basically with my setup, my dog bed was like $60 Canadian, and my posing tools that I use are the shape shifters from Hello Little, and those were like $170 US. So in reality, with those two things alone, you could be, you know, light years ahead of what you are currently if you are struggling with a beanbag. Okay. Oh wait, before we carry on, I would like to know, what are your biggest struggles with what you're using currently? Like I want to know how many people are using a table, how many are using a dog bed, how many are using a beanbag. Tell us all what you guys are using. Because I'll tell you what I used for a long time. Initially I had bought a beanbag from Walmart. It was way too soft. It was not functional. And so then I ended up getting a sewing pattern off of Etsy, and I sewed my own beanbag. And after that, Lacey, yes, I do use a firm foam mattress to go on top of the dog bed to give it height. Yeah. So, okay, so there's lots of different stuff that people are using. What's a nugget couch base? I use a square chase without the pillow. Oh, chaise without the pillow. Okay. So with all of your setups, what do you guys find you like the most about it? And what do you find you hate the most? Okay, I'm just looking at everyone's comments. Yeah, Lily uses the shapeshifters. Oh, it's a kids build a couch. I've seen those. I think they're really cool. Abigail says she hasn't found anything she likes yet. What have you tried, Abigail? Because honestly, a lot of people, when they started using the dog bed, I initially didn't really like the dog bed either until I changed how I used it. So rather than having, like a PVC frame with the dog bed and having my fabric clipped to the front and to the back where the PVC frame was, what I do is I just clip the fabric onto like the shelving unit that I have behind, or I just put a couple cushions on the back of my dog bed and it raises the fabric up. And I also use about 5 inches of foam, and the foam creates a thick, firm, soft surface for the baby to be posed on. And I find that it is fantastic. Like the fabric doesn't slip around. The fabric is secure, which I did find was a really big issue with the dog bed before I switched to having the foam on top. And I also found that the babies just weren't quite comfortable enough without the foam. And having the height raised with the foam helped huge and immensely, because I was raising the baby up higher and closer to the center of my light source. And I also use a stool to sit on, so I'm not hunched over the dog bed, so I don't have any issues with back pain. As long as I am not hovering over the dog bed, I'm totally pain free. And when I was using a beanbag, I was dying. I was having back spasms every session. I'd have to go for physiotherapy. It was horrible. Okay, I'm gonna read all these comments here. Okay. Tina says, I'm very tempted to use a more flat dog bed setup. Abigail said she's tried a dog bed and a table. Stephanie said, I'm pretty happy with the dog bed. Big improvement from beanbag. Oh, it's huge, like so huge. Lisa said, I love everything about the Fox table. Keeps very firm. Posers do not sink. I have shapeshifters and modest little me posers. Robin said, table keeps me from being bent over, but I can't use it for swing or other floor sets. Yeah, that's true. That is one issue that I would have. So one thing I love about the dog bed is that I can hover above it without having to do an entirely different posing situation. But what I think I'm going to do is also get like a little mini trampoline and use that for a couple other setups where I just need to hover above and won't have the foam on those, and I think that'll be good enough. Robin said, table keeps me from being bent over. Oh, right, I already read that. Lacey said, I'm just starting up, so I guess I don't really have a preference yet, but I can't wait to get the chance to use my dog bed. Yeah, definitely agree. Cassie said, I have a poser, but it's huge, and I have such a small space, not ideal for me. Then Cassie, I would really recommend you get a dog bed. They're small, they're lightweight, they're easy to store. You can, get it out of the way if you need to. If you need to go to somebody's house. You can bring it with you. Like, it's just so much more convenient, and I recommend doing that first. I think, okay, Abigail said, I think it's my light. Honestly, it's a DigiBeat and way too bright. Yeah, you definitely need to have the right type of light. If you can't have it on lowest power and low ISO, then it might be too bright. But you could, before you switch your light, what you could try is double diffusion fabric on your light software. I mean, good grief, I can't think. On your umbrella, use an extra diffusion fabric. Josette said table helps with back pain. Good, that's good. I like to have lots of layers because I like to have the layers go over my posers. Tina, I find that the posers are firm, however, they're not as soft without enough layers over top of them. And then you can see them more defined without enough fabric on it. I recommend a strobe, Cassie. Abigail, it's really not as difficult. Yeah, definitely try table posing, but use the dog bed. It's so much easier. As long as you can trim the playpen mattress, then that should be fine. Amber said, I have to sit on the floor for the dog bed. How do you use a stool? I have a very small stool. It's one of those collapsible stools, and they're like $10 at Winners, and it's the perfect height for me, and yeah, it's great. Amazon has an amazing super short folding table to secure a dog bed or PVC frame too. Well, that's cool. Amber said she does a lot of travel with the dog bed. Awesome. Yeah, no, the stool is very short. So the stool is a collapsible, and yeah, you can, I'll try and find a picture for you guys and post it in the comments after we're done this, but it's very easy. It collapses flat for storage, and it's not very high, but it's the perfect height for me, and I just sit on it, and then I don't get any back pain. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we're gonna carry on. And thanks, guys, for all your comments. This makes it so much more fun for me when everyone is chatting with me, and yeah, I just enjoy it so much more. So here is a common mistake with angles. So when you look at this, what would you do differently? I just want to see. So not about this picture, because this picture is correct. What would you do differently with this picture? The diffusion fabric is the front, that it goes on the front of your light source. So if your umbrella has a fabric to go in the front to diffuse it, then that's what it is. It's a diffusion fabric. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what everybody's saying so far. Abigail said, oh no, I already read that. Robin said, we have the stools in the States at Family Dollar. Okay, great. Abigail said, shoot down the nose. Yeah, I think I am shooting down the nose already in the picture. Tina said, turn my camera. Okay, so you mean like the angle of your camera? Yeah, you could do that. Feet are too close to the camera. That's a good one. Legs back more, bring head up. Robin said face needs to come up, hands stacked and legs back. Cheryl said I would move a bit to the left and make the head more prominent. Brianne said bring face up towards camera and light more. Josette said lift chin up. Woo, woo, woo. Yeah, you were the first one that said it again, Josette. Good job. Tilt head more towards light. Bring head up more towards light. It's too much down. Lift up head towards light and move to the light. Need to see the head more in the top photo. Okay, so she said the magic words, and the magic words were lift that chin up. So that was the first thing I had in the correction, was lift the chin. So in order to pose this baby correctly, first of all, number one is the surface is too soft. Okay, it's very difficult to pose correctly on a surface that is too soft. So basically, in order for me to lift that chin up, it would have been a miracle probably on this soft surface. So another thing that I would do is place the headband on the hair and not the forehead. I don't know why I didn't see that before, but that's my pet peeve when I see somebody put a headband across the forehead. Like, how many times do you wear a headband across your forehead? Like, a hairband is for the hair, so put it on the hairline. Put it over top of the hair. Okay? And when we are focusing on the posing and the correction of the posing, now her head is closer to the light source, so that part is good. But her forehead is a little bit darker because we're only getting the top of her head right now. That's all I can focus on. So if we had lifted her chin up, that would have been the number one thing, and then I would have pulled her upper body closer towards me and had her feet further away from me. So some of you guys mentioned that, and that's exactly it. We needed to lift the chin up, pull the upper body closer towards you, and then push those feet further away. So in this one, you can see the full face, not just the top of her head, whereas this one, that's like literally more than what you see of her face. Whereas this one, you see more of her face and less of the top of her head, right? So that's really, really important when you're looking at this pose or any pose on the fabric. You always want to make sure that visually you're looking at the face and not the top of the head. So when you're using a firm surface, it's like you don't even have to think about it. It's just easier to position them safely and get them right where you need them, and even to get better hand placement. Like with this one, you can see her hands are placed perfectly. This one, her hands, like you can't see that backhand, and clearly I have that hand under there because otherwise I wouldn't be able to see her elbow, and you can't see it because the surface is too soft and she's too far back. So I'm glad that you guys were able to see that. That's really, really good. Okay. So with the bottom picture, what I use under this is I use the shapeshifters, and they're from Hello Little, and then I use a foam and I use the dog bed, and that's what I use. Yes, you do. I think if you want to go DIY, Josette, I would rather you buy a foam roller and shave it to shape, because I think that with the rice posers, they're good filler posers. Like, so they're good posers for like weight. If you're, needing to add in like extra posers in a prop or something, or if you want to weight down the ankles with a sock filled with rice, it's definitely a good weight to keep their little feet and ankles in position. But as far as posing on them, I think there's too much give. So you definitely need to add in a firmer posing surface. Is mine the original set? Yeah, I just have the big bean right here, so the big shapeshifter right here, the small shapeshifter right here, and then I have like a lifter right here. And this picture was actually done in the last Newborn Live. Yeah, you can use pool noodles too. The one thing that I do find with pool noodles though is that they're not dense enough. So they definitely work. I have used them. I even recommend them on my YouTube channel as a DIY. But I think you would be even doing yourself one extra favor if you just use the foam roller and just shave it to size. And the reason why is because they're basically the pre-version of the shapeshifter. You know, because that's what the Hello Little prop creators actually used before they designed the shapeshifters. They used the foam roller. And so you use the foam roller that is cut in half, obviously, because if it's round, it's going to roll around. So you're going to create a flat surface on the bottom and then just shave off the corners and the edges and cut them to different sizes. And it's messy and yeah, it doesn't look as professional. But yeah, it's all, as long as it's firm, that's the point. Now, the one thing with a foam roller is that you are going to have more, it's more slippery. So the shapeshifters, the texture is more like a yoga block texture. Like it's smooth, but it's got a little bit of grip to it. Whereas the foam rollers are slippery. So what you could do essentially is you could glue some fabric, velvet fabric, over top of the foam rollers. Of course, you got to make sure that they're cut seamlessly so you don't have wrinkles underneath your fabric. And that'll create grip on the foam roller, and then you shouldn't have any issues with slipping. Okay, so next, I don't have the new set. I didn't even know they had a new set. It's way too expensive for me to get everything in Canada shipped over, so I just got one set. Yeah, I would recommend that, Lacey. I think that if you go ahead and just get a foam roller to begin with and cut it down to the sizes you need, I think that, you know, is going to help you out a lot without having to break the bank. Okay, so this is a common thing that I see in so many pictures, you guys. I would be surprised if you don't pick this issue out of this top picture here. So specifically, there's a few in this picture. We're going to break this picture down, but this is also another example, same situation. But I want you to find 3 things wrong in this specific image. And then here's another example of some of the issues as well. Yeah, lift the chin. Yeah, that's a real good one. Yeah, bring more towards camera, definitely. Yeah, so when you lift the chin up, you can use those hands to lift the chin up. That's right, so chin is down. Tamara said bum too close to camera and not, and okay. Chin tucked, wrap too loose, feet are hidden. The lighting is really bright and all on baby. Wrapping. Okay, so you guys all have a lot of really good ideas, but there's one thing that it's a hidden thing that you should notice, and I want you guys to look for it, and we're not going to move on until somebody mentions it. So keep looking. It's in the green. It's in this top picture. Keep guessing. Nobody's said it yet. Light maybe on butt, posers, background isn't smooth. Keep guessing. There's something that nobody's mentioned yet. Yeah, most likely it was soft posers, but that's not what I'm looking for. There's something in this picture that you're going to need to train your eyes to see so that you don't make the same mistake. No, there's no purple feet. No, it's not the forehead. I mean, granted, yeah, there is too much forehead because the chin is tucked. I do agree with that, but that's not what I'm looking for. There's one thing nobody has mentioned yet. I'm curious to see if anyone's gonna find it. No, it's not the hands. It might just be your screen, yeah, Lacey, yeah. It is also Facebook, too. Colors do change on Facebook. Keep guessing, you guys. There's something that hasn't been mentioned yet. And it's about the top image. Nope, it's not the angle. I mean, yeah, the angle could be different, but honestly, I don't really think the angle is that big of a deal. Okay, you guys are all guessing really good. No, nobody's mentioned it yet. It's a trick question. No, 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 not the logo. It's a trick question. I mean, the lighting is like pretty flat in this picture, I do agree. It's not about the backdrop. I'm sure one of my mentoring girls has got to see this. Come on. No. No, it's a trick question. It's the top picture. No, it's nothing to do with the logo. Abigail said nothing. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm going to go to the next and give this. This one is hard. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's not the hips. No. No. Well, I mean, yeah, I do agree with that, but nobody's mentioned it yet. Okay, we're going to go on. No, it's not the cord. Okay, we're going to go to the next. We're going to give you the answer because nobody's guessed it. It's the secret. It's the shutter speed was too high. That was the trick question. So when you look at this picture, there's a dark haze at the bottom of the fabric. And that will happen when your shutter speed is too high and you're using studio light. Not one person guessed that. I'm actually surprised that nobody guessed that. But you guys all gave really good answers. So good job, everyone. So yeah, so definitely the chin was hidden. The hand should go underneath the chin to lift up the face. The bum could be further away from the camera, I agree. But the shutter speed is too high. Yeah, so what happens is your shutter speed will always be on the bottom of your image, okay? And what happens is if your shutter speed is too high, that dark line will get darker and darker and darker until it's all the way up. I know everyone was looking at the baby. I knew I was gonna get you guys. That's awesome. That's so good. Okay, so as as for the bottom picture, we can see that you have light on the chin. The chin is showing, the face is showing. The bum is further away. So a lot of you guys pointed that out. So that's really, really good. And there's no dark line at the bottom of the image because the shutter speed is correct. And that is something that I struggled with for years. I didn't know what this stupid dark line was at the bottom because it was just a haze and I couldn't really tell if I was seeing it or not. It would mess with my, it would mess with my eyes. And so sometimes I wouldn't even see it until later on after I delivered the gallery and I'd be like, oh my gosh, and then I'd have to edit it out. But I could never figure out until I found out, yeah, my shutter speed was just one notch too high, and that was the biggest problem. Okay, so we're gonna finish off with the froggy. And the froggy, I feel like, you know, you really shouldn't do the froggy until you are confident with posing newborns and have been trained how to do the froggy safely. So if you're new to newborn photography, please don't attempt to do it. Even if you think you know how to do it, definitely get some experience handling newborns first with the other poses to make sure that you understand how to balance them safely. And it'll help you out a lot. Tina said, what should your shutter speed be? So I have the Einstein. My shutter speed is at 160 or 200, depending on what I want. But if I go to 250, both of these were composites. I wasn't good at it. These are both from 10 years ago, or even 11 years ago, possibly. but they were composite. So I knew I had to do 2 pictures and put them into one. So I knew I had to be safe that way, but I still sucked at it. Like, it's not good. These are not good pictures. But it's really important to make sure that if you ever do something where it looks like it's not natural or it needs to have like some kind of safety feature to it, then it probably does, and it probably was taken out in Photoshop. So if you don't know how to do something, please ask, and definitely make sure that you are, you know, doing things safely. Yeah, so Tina, if you go try around 160 or 200. Even like when I had an Alien B 400, 200 was even too much. I had to keep it at 160. Whereas with my Einstein, I can go up to 200. But if I go to 250, I get a black line. Yeah, it's not good. Okay, so Tamara said, it makes me so upset when I see known photographers post on Instagram behind the scenes videos and take hands off baby. Yeah, that's not good. Agreed. Yeah, totally. Okay, so try and post the 3 things that you think are wrong with these images, okay? So don't put down that it's not a composite, because they are. They are a composite, each one of them. So try and look for different things. Yeah, Lisa, you're correct. Arms, mouth open, shot up nose. Well, that is definitely the problem, definitely. Yeah, wrists need to be together, mouth closed, hand placement, hat, lighting. Well, let's ignore the styling of these. Are terribly ugly, but they're 11 years old, so the babies themselves are cute. Yeah, hands are not properly under the cheeks, and you don't see the feet or legs. Hands together at the top under chin. Yeah, Robin, hands on jawline, feet supporting elbows, wrists together. Exactly. Okay, so as you can see, the wrists need to be placed together. The feet, really try your hardest to get them behind the arms. And remember that the elbows should be in front of the feet, because the feet kind of keep the elbows in place. And the hands do need to be on the jawline, because it's going to help keep the baby balanced. And that's really, really important. If the baby doesn't have a proper balance, then it's really difficult to swap your hand out and put your hand on top to create that second image so that you can do a proper composite if they're not balanced. So just remember these 4 things. So wrist placement need to be directly under the chin, and the hands should be around the jawline, okay? Feet placement needs to be behind the elbows. The elbows do need to be in front of the feet, and then you create that perfect balance. And yes, it is a composite. Okay, so I just want to say thank you guys for hanging out for this day 1 of boot camp. If you guys have any questions, definitely please send me. Post the questions right now. Tamara said, if a baby is totally asleep, I can get the hands and elbows perfectly posed and pose her behind the bum, and even the feet touching the elbows, but the second I take the shot, they pull their feet in. I do find that is super annoying. Sometimes they do pull their feet in, and some babies just, you know, they have touchy feet, they're ticklish, whatever. Sometimes that is a struggle. So sometimes what I'll do, is I'll take the shot, and if I have to, I'll clone the other foot from another picture if I have to. But that's just like if the baby doesn't cooperate. Amber question, what type of manual focus do you use? Single spot? Yes, I do. Yeah, I use a single spot. Okay, so thank you everyone for hanging out. Just as a reminder, if you comment 8 times in every single bootcamp day, you will get the lighting tutorial free to download from Mom Talk Educate. And you will, if you're interested in getting $600 off mentoring and 75% off of my presets if that is something that you were hoping to get. So tomorrow we are going to have day 2 of the boot camp, and it's going to cover parent posing. And we are going to talk about how to add in variety, how to do a workflow with parents, and we are going to discuss how to handle prepping the parents and dealing with toddlers and sibling workflow. So Jessica, yeah, I was wondering what the face is that you posted. Thank you guys. Yeah, make sure that you guys go in and comment. And Tamara, the presets, the mirrorless presets do work with Nikon, yes. And yes, I can absolutely do some sample edits for you. And yeah, so tomorrow's going to be lots of fun, guys. It's going to be the exact same time tomorrow. And yeah, if you want to send in, yeah, make sure you comment, put in those 8 comments each day so that everybody has the opportunity to win that lighting tutorial and the other special things that we're going to be doing. So also, if you yeah, you definitely are going to want to binge my YouTube videos, definitely. So glad to have you, and I'm so glad that you guys were able to spend the hour with me. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Tina. Okay, well, you guys have a fantastic evening, and don't forget to tag your friends on this live video, and make sure that you, oh, Abigail said you have surgery, your child has surgery. Well, I hope that everything goes okay for you and your child, and you can watch the replay and comment on the replay if you have a chance. Okay, you guys all have a great night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.